I'm Father Michael ORSI. I'm your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which brings you the big G, the gospel of Jesus Christ, and little g, all the good things that people do to promote the gospel of life in our community and in our world. Today we have with us a lovely lady. Her name is Julia, and she works for Community Pregnancy Center. And let me just tell you a little bit about Community Pregnancy Center. It is directly across the street here in Naples from Planned Parenthood on Goodlet, Frank, and Creech. But you know what? Community Pregnancy Center does just the opposite of Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is destructive of human life. Community Pregnancy Center promotes human life. So Julia, tell us about your work at CPCI.
Well, at our office, 97% of the women who come into our office who are abortion vulnerable or abortion minded choose to keep their baby after seeing the sonogram. The difference between us and Planned Parenthood is that we show these women their baby. When they go into Planned Parenthood, the only thing Planned Parenthood is looking to do is find out the size of that child so they know how much to charge them. And while we show them that their baby is fully formed at 8 weeks with a heartbeat, with hand buds, with feet, with a brain, that baby is fully formed by our loving God, and we show them that we will give them anything that they need with support emotionally, support financially, anything they need to keep their child that God has blessed them.
So, Julia, tell us anything else going on with PCPI? You have vans going around the neighborhood too.
Yes, we have a brand new mobile unit. So now we have 2 mobile units, 5 brick and mortar buildings. We just opened up in Gainesville where we are looking to change the culture of life throughout the state of Florida, where 71% of students who attend the University of Florida stay in Florida. So if we affect 1% of that population and they go back and raise their children with the foundation and the understanding that every life is precious and a gift from God, we will change the culture of this state. It's JSZ as in zebra, WED at communityforlife.com.
Wowee, thank you so much for what you do. God bless you.
God bless you.
Take care. Hi, this is Mr. Greg Harper, and Greg is the founder of this Day of Remembrance, and this is number 6, and the event has been growing and growing every year. Now, Greg, how did you get involved with this Day of Remembrance?
Well, it actually started as part of the National Day of Remembrance that happens the second Saturday of September. And so we did that on the second Saturday of September for a few years, and then Irma came along and canceled our observance, so we moved it to this time of year, and it's been more successful that way. But it was really getting involved with that early Day of Remembrance and coming to this particular cemetery, which has the Florida Memorial for the Unborn, which is kind of the perfect complement to what we're doing. And so we've been doing it every year now for 6 years, and as you say, it's been growing every year, and it's really been a blessing.
Toward the end of our program, we're going to focus in on that memorial to the unborn, and we'll be processing over there and laying flowers at the shrine for unborn children. Could you tell us who provided the money for that beautiful shrine?
Well, that was the money raised by a gentleman named Bob Block. He and others went around to local churches. A large amount of the money was raised at Covenant Church here locally, and but for the most part, it was local churches. The man who built the monument and is coming to pick it up, actually, to rebronze it sometime in the next month or 2.
Not today, though.
Not today.
Okay.
But he donated a portion of it. The Palm Royal Cemetery donated the plot and annual upkeep, and the donors actually covered the balance to buy the monument.
It makes a tremendous impact when you go look at that monument, that shrine. But then when we process over with the flowers, some people go there with a heavy heart because they themselves had abortions. And what I want people to realize is this. This event is not about a guilt trip for women who have had abortions. This event is about women who are able to tell their stories, tell of their regrets, but also to witness to the healing power of Christ that's come into their life and is able to bring them back to the fullness of life. And their testimony is a testimony that we'll be hearing a little bit more later on today during our service. But they tell us about the pain they went through, but they also encourage other women, if they went through an abortion, to go for healing. Project Rachel, for women who have gone through abortions. They'll also remind other women that there are better ways to solve what they deem to be a problem. A child is not a problem. Let me reiterate that again and again. A child is not a problem. The problem is evil people who say, get rid of the child and your problems will be ended. For the most part, that's when problems just begin.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the very first year I did this, there were only 40 of us who gathered over at the memorial. And a lady by the name of Cindy Case came by and asked if she could speak. And I said, absolutely. And so she gave her personal testimony about her experience with abortion. And it literally was the first time I thought about that part of the damage that's done by that procedure, how it can rack and wreck a woman's life, create all the guilt and pain. But she came through that again, through the grace and mercy of Christ, came through that. Now she's a strong witness for life, and she tells her story.
This is an ecumenical event. Churches from all over Naples come here to remember the unborn and to also mourn along with their mothers who have lost their children to abortion. So we're going to continually encourage all the churches to work together for the preservation of human life from conception until natural death. And we hope that what we do here today continues to motivate people to get involved for the preservation of life and to remove Planned Parenthood from Naples.
Amen.
Thank you, my man.
Yeah,
God
Father.
bless you for everything you do.
See you later on the program.
I'll be there. Thank you. Well, this is a very interesting person we have here. His name is Jerry. And Jerry worked for Verity Pregnancy Center.
Yes, sir.
And tell us about that.
Well, we are a family-oriented center. A lot of times when you go to a pregnancy center, you don't think about the men that go there or causing situations or circumstances, and that's why some of the women go there. I particularly work with the men myself, and we try to focus on the family. My job is to talk with the men, help them rediscover that image that God has placed on them. Let them understand who they are in the home, in the culture, in society, in the church. And because that has been lost and taken away from them, a lot of the women in our culture and our society have suffered from that. And you see it with abortion, you see it with single parent homes, you see it in many different ways manifested because men have lost that God-given responsibility and call to their lives.
You know, right on, brother. Let me tell you something. If men would take more responsibility, women would not feel that they have to have an abortion in order for them to continue on with their lives.
Absolutely.
Men have a very, very important role in the life of a child. And the reason why we have so many children that are disturbed in so many ways, we have a high crime rate, we have children who do poorly in schools, why we have a high suicide rate, is because there is no male image in the home.
You can come see us at Verity, and I promise you, you have family there, you have someone who loves you there. It's a safe place to be. No judgment, all love.
Call Jerry, you won't be sorry. God bless you, Jerry.
God bless you, brother.
But one last thing that came as a complete surprise, which turned out to be such a blessing and why I stand here today. I was required to go through Surrendering the Secret, which is a Bible study for women that are need healing from abortion. And it has been life-changing. It has opened a new place in my heart for serving with Jolynn, who is the restoration coach at PRC, in this very necessary ministry that so many women need. Going through this study has brought me more healing and helped me to let go of the shame. And now, finally, after 44 years, I've forgiven myself and can stand before you today and share the biggest regret of my life, knowing full well that God will use it for His glory.
Yes.
Blessed be the comfort of God, who comforts us in our afflictions, so we will be able to comfort others where we ourselves have been comforted. That's 2 Corinthians 1:3. That's my life testimonial verse.
What did Missing Arrows do for me? What did the Men's Reconciliation Program do for me? Well, It took me back to that road sign, that time in my timeline of the 18-year-old guy. It gave me, maybe for the first time, an appreciation for the child that was no longer born, that had never been born. That was a real person, and I saw that, and I knew that.
As you can imagine, producing this wonderful program, Action for Life, it costs a great deal of money. We're going to need your help. So if you would like to donate to keep this good news program on the air, please go to your computer, your cell phone, actionforlife.net. Thought for the day. I hope that all of you belong to a Christian community. Going to church is extremely important. Why? Because we need the support of other people in order for us to live a good Christian life. Christianity is a community religion. Please worship in your church this weekend.
With our call to action, probably don't need an introduction at this point, but I will. Father Michael ORSI, St. Agnes Catholic Church.
I'm not as young as you are. Maybe I should remove my Cary Grant. No, Foster Grants. Some of you may have heard that I have a television show, and we're doing some filming right now, as a matter of fact. And I usually begin the show by talking about the big G, the gospel of Jesus Christ, and little g, all the good things that people are doing to put that gospel of life into action. So I come here today in a rather good mood. However, that could change. But I'm in a rather good mood. A lot of things are going my way, and when things are going my way, I'm in a good mood. First of all, I am delighted with the President of the United States. I tell you the truth, Don is from Queens, I'm from Brooklyn. I kind of feel like I grew up with him. But I never expected him to be as good as he turned out to be regarding the life issues. And he certainly has. I was mesmerized by him at the March for Life. What a beautiful, beautiful speech he gave to maybe 100,000 people out there on the mall. Now, if you listen to some of the reporting from the media that leans in a certain direction, they might say a few thousand people were there, but there were thousands of people there. And he reminded these mostly young people that every human life is a miracle and every child gives joy to a family. The President of the United States. How long have we waited to hear something like that? God certainly works in strange ways, and he certainly picks people that we wouldn't expect him to pick to do his work. But I'll take whatever I can get. And so far, so good. The president has also stopped funding the Mexico City policy, which supplies abortion in foreign countries. Imagine that. He stopped it. Secondly, the president is trying to stop funding for Title X, which also supplies money for abortion. And he's also trying to eliminate from the budget over $500 million of our tax money that goes to Planned Parenthood. That is unconscionable. And we have to let our local representatives know that it is not acceptable. Our congressmen and women have to know that. Our state senators have to know that. We are lucky to be in Florida. For the most part, they do know that, and they have been listening to our voice. But there are plenty of places throughout the country who do not want to hear that message, do not want to follow through with the wishes of the American people. And the wishes of the American people are that their tax money be not used to commit an atrocity against humanity. Genocide, that's what it is. We heard Byron talk a little bit earlier about the parental consent bill here in Florida. That is wonderful, and has the governor signed it yet?
He will soon.
Okay, you heard that from Byron. The Governor DeSantis, will sign that bill very soon. So there's a lot of good things happening, and we have to give praise to God for that. We need the positive reinforcement. Now, what about things that we have to be careful for? We always have to be very, very careful. Sometimes you might think that we kind of are on the road to victory. Well, eventually we will be. Eventually in God's time we will be. But let me tell you a little story. A number of years ago, I was walking near Physicians Regional Hospital near the Vineyards. And somebody told me there is an alligator on the road. And I despise alligators. So I waved down a car because I didn't want to run into the alligator. And it happened to be a police car. And, wow, couldn't plan this any better. I said, there's an alligator out here. I said, give me a ride to Starbucks. So the officer was very nice. He said, jump in the back seat. I got in the back seat, and I bought him a cup of coffee at Starbucks. We get a call. The officer gets a call, and it says, there's an alligator going up the driveway of Physicians Regional Hospital. I said, that's the sucker I was telling you about. He's there. So he says, I'm going to go over. I said, all right, let me come with you. So I went with him, got back in the police car, and we went up the driveway very slowly, put the lights on, and there he was. The old alligator was there, and we got out. So I was like real brave. I stood right behind the police officer. And I said, get out your gun, son. And there we are. And the alligator had been run over. Yeah. I don't go, oh, I felt I was happy to get rid of the damn... And he says to me, he looks like he's dead. I said, yeah, he looks like he's dead. I said, get your club and tap him. So I'm right behind him. Go ahead, get him. Taps him, didn't move. Looks like he's gone. And let me try one other thing. It's on the other side of him. Taps him, he's gone. He's gone, he's not moving. I said, hey, try one more thing. Try to kick him in the tail. And he did. And all of a sudden, he turned around. That sucker was alive. I said, now get out your gun and shoot him. Now, why am I telling you that story? Because that's how Satan works. It's a true story. That's how Satan works. He makes believe he's dead. He's playing dead. And everything looks like, hey, we don't have to be afraid anymore. We're winning this battle. And then all of a sudden, he's playing possum. You give him a kick in the tail, and wham, he turns right around, and he's there to try to destroy you, get you when you least expect it, and wreak havoc on you. Now, we have to be continually vigilant.
You know as well as I do that there are certain people running in a primary that have a debate going on this evening. I won't tell you who they are. They're in some state called Nevada, I'm told. Every one of them is not only pro-choice, it's a nice euphemism, means they're pro-abortion, but they offer partial birth abortion and even for infanticide, every one of them. How fast things could turn if one of those people becomes president of the United States. How fast can it turn? As fast as that alligator turned on me and that police officer. Now, there are a few of them who make statements that are reprehensible. They're lies, and they come from the father of lies, the prince of darkness, the devil himself. Don't think the devil is not alive. Like the alligator, he's alive and just waiting to cause damage. One says that he is a devout Catholic, but he's pro-abortion. He's full of baloney. Devout Catholics are not for abortion. Period. And another one claims to be a devout Christian. And he says, in the Bible, it says that a child is not alive until it takes its first breath. What Bible is he reading? But then again, he's living in a very, very odd relationship that is also contrary to what the Bible teaches. The only way that we are going to overcome this horror, abortion, and later on down the road, it's already with us, euthanasia. You know there's a bill circulating in some Senate committee talking about death with dignity. You know what that means? That we could put people to sleep just as easily as we put a dog or a cat to sleep. And that could conceivably become a law, permissible in our own state. Satan is alive and Satan is well. We must remain vigilant. We must also be very careful for people who claim to be Christians and their faith is not based on Scripture, not based on the Bible. You must belong to a Bible-believing church. And if your pastor decides to reinterpret God's law according to political correctness, he is an agent of the evil one. The evil one distorts the truth. The father of lies, he is the prince of darkness. Now, let me make a proposal. And I hope that someone here will be inspired by the Holy Spirit to run with this, as they say, to run with this. Do you think it's possible to have Naples declared a sanctuary city for the unborn? I doubt it would have any legal status, but it would have some symbolic status. Imagine being known as a sanctuary city for the unborn. And it's doable. You know, sometimes we vote for people running for public office, for county commissioners, and maybe we're worried about millage. Maybe we're worried about new roads. Maybe we're worried about housing. But shouldn't we be worried about human life, the sanctity of human life, protection of the unborn and protection of the born, and for the sick and for the elderly? Why cannot someone here today begin to put together a petition to have Naples declared a sanctuary city for the unborn? Why can't you do it? There is a beautiful piece in sacred scripture, the second book of Kings. And I often go back to this. You've heard of Elisha the prophet. Well, Elisha was surrounded by enemies. And he had a servant with him. The servant looked around and he said, "It's impossible. We'll never win." And then all of a sudden, the servant had a vision. And the vision was that he saw myriads and myriads of flaming chariots surrounding Elisha. And he knew that although it seemed that Elisha would be conquered, that the angels of God would give him victory that day. And indeed he won. I have seen those flaming chariots. And I'm calling upon you today to put into effect in your churches, in your political conversations, amongst your friends, that Naples must become a sanctuary city for the unborn. God love you.
Sing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
We would like to thank our generous sponsors for their wonderful support. Thanks for watching. Please join us next time for Action for Life. I'm for action, and I hope you are too. I'm Father Michael Orsi. I am your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which talks about the gospel of Jesus Christ, the big G and the little g, all the good things that people are doing to put the gospel of life into action. So please join us for the next episode of Action for Life.